Look at this, you lot. Look at this. We're out and about in the wilderness, and we've got the trophy truggy, HPI 3.5 trophy truggy. It's a bit windy today. Hopefully it's not too windy and you can actually hear what I'm saying in your the bloody buggy. But I'll tell you what, I'm in complete and utter shock. Absolute shock. I've had to find a tree, look, to get into some shade because the temperature is 31 degrees Celsius with a bit of a breeze, which makes it feel a bit better. Anyway, I've put a Habeo, it's a hobo air filter on there because this buggy didn't come with an air filter when I got it. Bought this buggy from a subscriber because he had enough of it. I don't think he could get it running, so I bought it off a subscriber. I got it running on the bench, mended the pull start, set up the throttle servo a bit better than it was, stuck an air filter on it that I had on the bench. Let's see if it drives. I've mended the mesh. A lot of you pointed out that the mesh was a bit tight. I know it was a bit tight in that other video, but I wasn't bothered about it because it was on the bench. I've mended that. Let's go. I can't wait. Oh, absolutely shocked. I haven't done a single thing. I've got gloves stuck to the bottom of it. I haven't got the bottom to this transmitter. Apparently the person who I bought it from, he just forgot to put it in the box. So I'm hoping that he's going to post that bottom to this transmitter to me in a jiffy bag or something, and then at least I've got a complete set of radio gear. So that is that. Throttle, no throttle. Brakes a bit weird still, and we got steering. Let's fire it up and give it a blast. Hopefully this pull start holds up. It's going to be a bit cold, obviously. Although I haven't said that. The temperature's 30 odd degrees, so I don't know. Throttle's trim needs a bit of adjustment. There we go, throttle trim sorted. Ah, where's me, should have picked my glow starter up, but I didn't. Should have picked up my glow starter there, Johnny boy. Why didn't you tell me to pick up the glow starter? Oh, I don't know. Bloody useless, that Johnny boy, sometimes. Even I say to Manuel, like, make sure everything's under control. Hang on about, hang on. That's right. This camera's got blooming, what is it called? Wind reduction on it. See if it works. Huh, that's a cracking buggy. Huh, I haven't even got to tune it really. Brakes are working a bit better now. They're not perfect, but they're working better. Beautiful. Some of you might say that it could be better than that. And it's not revving high enough, but for racing you want it to be tuned right on the edge. But for just everyday life, add a little bit of extra nitro, a little bit richer, and it's just what you want. You know, you set things up to how you're going to use them. Simple as that. Set things up to how you're going to use them. Oops. Let's have a look at these brakes. Now that's the one we want. I can't sort that tick over out because that should have ticked over then for a bit longer. Now these brakes, that diff's hot, which is good. So the brakes, we can have a little look down here. What's that? That was blooming. I thought that was a 1.5 mil. It's not. It's blooming 3 mil. That's 1.5 mil. Right. So we can adjust that one out there, and that's. I think the top one was the one that was the problem, if I'm honest. Put that there like that. Now we're not gonna. If I'm honest, I think the problem is the servo. Don't know. Because them brakes work. But that servo hasn't got enough oomph. Well, it's probably not the servo, it's probably the batteries. What I'm using the 4 AA batteries that it came with. I put a cable tie around the holder because if they come loose we'll have a bit of a palaver going on with ourselves. So I put a cable tie around the batteries to stop them. But if it had a humpback in it with a bit more oomph, I reckon them brakes would work like a dream. But for now, that rolls better. So let's see. I might even give it a little bit of a tune, see if it needs a little bit. Got to do the tick over though. We'll turn that in a bit because it's a bit low now, it's warmed up. Turn that in a lot just for good measure. That's better now. We haven't got as much pressure or preload or whatever you want to call it on them brakes. I didn't bring the shell with me. Literally just picked up the car and the bag and walked out the door. 25% nitro is what it's running on. We have got brakes. Yeah, we got brakes. I reckon once that oil burns off of them pads and off them discs, we'll be alright. Take a little bit away from the low end. See if we can get a nice stable tick over. Still a little bit rich. You can tell by that hesitation. See, that wasn't lean hesitation, that was a bit of a bog, you know, too much fuel. So we'll keep taking that away. I'm going half a turn at a time. Oh, look at that. That's better. Too much now. Yeah, so now we go back in that. Oh yeah, maybe a nat's more and we'll be there. Want a nice consistent trail of smoke. A little bit on that low end and we'll be there. I want it good enough just for everyday use. I'm not going for some sort of hectic race tune, do you know what I mean? I'm just going for normal everyday use. That's what we want. We don't want madness. We don't want madness. Definitely don't want madness. Plenty of smoke. Comes down to a tick over. Is it going to stay there? I'm going to take a little bit away from this one now again. Take a little bit away from the low end. That's still sitting there nicely. It's a little bit high, but we can take that down later on when we've got a bit of trust in it. I reckon that's going quite well, really. To be fair, don't know what you think, but I think that's going really well. Let's just make an adjustment to this camera a minute, hold on. That might be better for you to see it now. I had it on ultra wide thinking it might be nice, but I was just looking at that and I think it might be, maybe the car was too small, I don't know. You tell me. Anyway, that's been sitting there ticking over for about 30 seconds. Let's punch the throttle and see what happens. Ah, hesitation. I'll leave it up to you in the comments. Is that a lean hesitation or a rich hesitation? In my opinion, that seemed a bit of a lean hesitation, but we'll see. No, it wasn't. That was a rich, that was a bog. Because now, once it's cleared out, you punch it and it's fine. Down to a tick over, punch the throttle. Away we go. That is running an absolute dream. Look at that. That is the dreamiest of all dreams I've ever seen. I don't think there's such a thing as more dreams than that, my friends. That is the best dream you could ever get. There's no more dreams better than that. That's the dreamiest RC car that you'll ever see in the entire world. Here we go again, ready? A little bit of a build up. You see what happens is, when they sit there ticking up, because they're two-stroke, any two-stroke will do that. Any two-stroke, because the oil is in with the fuel, it's in with the nitro, or if it's a petrol engine, the oil is in with the petrol. When they're ticking over, the RPMs aren't there, the heat's not there, they're not burning off the oil. So it builds up in the crank. Builds up in the block. And when you go to rev, there's too much oil and it makes it cough and splutter a little bit. And then once it burns it off, it's back to normal. That's why you see in motocross racing and nitro racing, when they're in the pits, they don't have them ticking over. They're revving them, constantly revving them to make sure there's no build up of oil. So now if we clear this out, that's cleared out now. If we come to a tick over and then punch it, there won't be any hesitation, you watch. Ready? No hesitation, absolutely perfect. If we let it tick over for a bit, it will build up oil and it'll have a bit of a cough. You know, like when you get a bit of phlegm in your throat and you go to speak and it's all croaky and then you have to go and you get rid of it and then you're back to normal. Same thing. Exactly the same. This is the best dream ever. Look at this. Right. That's enough of that then. I reckon we can call that sorted. Done. We can put the tools away for today. That is it done now. Happy day. Just listen to that purring away in the background, if you can hear it over the wind. It's very windy. Little trees blowing. Anyway, if you like that sort of thing, think about sticking around. Plenty of that coming up. I've got Savages that need to be tested. I've got Savages that need to be mended. I've got Buggies like that I come across most of the time. What I do is I mend old nitro cars. I want to keep nitro a thing, because all of the puffs and the lazy people are going to electric because they don't understand nitro. No, jokes aside, people go to electric because it's easier for them, but nitro's going to die out if we're not careful. Nitro's just run out of nitro. Speaking of nitro, run out. Nitro's definitely going to die out if we're not careful. We don't want the manufacturers to think, well, no one wants to buy nitro. Nobody wants to buy them, let's stop making them. We don't want shops to think nobody's buying any nitro, let's stop selling them. Because if the shops stop buying them from wholesale to sell them, then the manufacturers are going to stop making them. And we don't want that. So we've got to make sure that we keep these old ones. That one there's from 2011, believe it or not. So, we've got to make sure that we keep the old ones going, just in case the new ones do stop being made. But we've also got to make sure we keep buying parts, because the manufacturers are also looking at parts availability. That's the way that it works. If no one's buying the parts for the old ones, they're going to stop making the parts. And when you need a part, you're not going to be able to get it. So we've got to keep the old ones going. They're going to break, buy the part. Keep buying parts. Manufacturers will keep making parts if there's a demand there, supply and demand. And also, look, pure easy and simple. I'm eating flies, but I'll also catch you on the next one after I've eaten all the flies that I've collected up in my throat. There we go. I'm sitting here ticking over, talking to you lot. I'm gathering up flies. I need to have a run around to blast them out. I'll catch you lot on the next one. This trophy truggy is going to go onto a new home. It's already been sold. A channel member, actually. If you want to be a channel member, by the way, there's a join button next to the subscription button. Become a channel member. Help me out. You help me out, I help you out. Channel member has bought that off me, and I think they're going to be bloody happy with it. See you later. Take care. Love life. Because that's what we're here to do. All the best, you lot.